Before we get into this video, I wanted to do a little ad for myself. Destination OG. If you're not familiar, go to the website. We'll put a link in the description. I bought a house in Helen, Georgia. It's like the prototype car guy house. Great for wives and families too. But Manny just let me know we have 19 weeks available still this year. So we have a lot of open availability. And of course, there's plenty of weeks available in 2025 if you want to book in advance. But I was thinking about it when I'm here playing with tools. I mean, we have all of the Sonic tools, the Milwaukee stuff, the Dynaudio cores. I've got a home theater, a $50,000 racing sim. It's pretty much all of our dream homes, and you can go and borrow it from me. Spend a week there, get to really experience it. If you're thinking about building a garage like this, if you're thinking about just a cool place to go with the family, if you've never been to the mountains, we also have a Cayman GTS there that you could borrow as well. You could rent that from me and go drive the mountains if you're from California or Oregon or somewhere where you can't get your car there. Go to obsessedgarage.com, go to the destination, check out the weeks available. Hit up Manny at obsessedgarage.com if you want to book your week. All right, everybody, back at it. Car's completely polished. The procedure, if you didn't watch the other part of the series, you might want to go watch that first. Used all kinds of new polishers. By the way, just a little tip, or a clarification. When I was using the Rupes and I was using the wool pad, the coarse wool pad, and I'm using it on a big flat panel, a couple of things I noticed. It was freaking walking it was just grabbing and walking all over the place on me. I'm pretty sure it has to do with the pad, coarse wool pad, and then of course the polish. But the main thing is this really soft single stage paint. Because I will tell you, I threw a microfiber pad on and some cut max, and I did the windows, and it was freaking smooth as silk. And so my initial reaction to this was, man, I don't like this. It feels like forced rotation machine. The other thing I noticed is that when I'm working other panels, it wasn't grabbing as badly. It was only when I had a full flat on a panel. And so more of the jury's still out for me. My initial reaction on this is that battery life isn't as good as the Milwaukee, but that doesn't really matter because you have a charger right there and it comes with 2 batteries. Much, much smoother. Stalls more, so it does stall more. The battery does kind of get in the way. I love the ergonomics of this and how light it is, but they did make this soft, or rubber at least, so when you do, I found myself hitting a panel here and there, just bumping it. It does a good job, of protecting, but it is kind of annoying. But it is, more ergonomic, being a little closer, instead of holding on the battery, I find myself holding, in close versus the Milwaukee. But I'm not sure. I'm still not sure if I prefer this. It is a lot more money than the Milwaukee, like $300 more, $250 more. It's certainly more refined, certainly a prettier looking tool, but jury's still out. We have to polish that car, and I'm sure I'll use both of the machines more. And I'm not ready to make my full assessment yet, but I wanted to update you on that. So go check out that series. The one thing that is for sure, this guy. I love this thing. Best thing ever. So anyway, and then the dream is still to have quads. 4 nanos. Okay, so let's get into coating. I was kind of torn on this car. The old standby, the old Matty standby. I haven't used this in a while, but this little combo, Power Lock Plus. Now there's Ultra Lock as well. The problem is I don't know how well Colonite 845 plays with the new Ultra Lock. So maybe we'll test that out. I have a bottle at my house that our friends at Just Car sent me. So 90s car, thinking about waxing it. So what I think I'm gonna do, the fancy car, this is a $100,000 car, that's a $300,000 car. This is if you want to call it base, but this is an E30 M3. That is a E30 Sport Evo M3, Euro spec, different engine, 238 horsepower, 192 horsepower, bigger wheels, different suspension, different wing, different front lip, different interior. So that car, I think what I'm probably going to do, wax it. So we'll go back to the old school, do a little waxing. But on this car, what we're gonna do is we're gonna coat it. Now, my transition, it took me quite a bit longer than most to transition to coatings because I like that feeling, that like wipe my hand down the side of the car, which you're not supposed to do, but I don't freaking care because it's my car, do what I want. That feeling I get when I walk down the side of the car and it's super slick, and that depth and sort of that sort of wet look you get. When before, CSL XO and before, C-Courts like UK, a lot of the coatings were real weird looking. It would make the car look kind of, like candy looking. It just looked weird. I didn't like how it looked. I didn't like how grabby they were. And they were very water spot prone. And so now we're, 10 years later and we've had, a ton of improvement. My go-to, and there's lots of great coatings out there, C-Courts UK, C-Courts TiO2, of course you could do, Geon Mo's, what is it, new one called the Geon Mo's Evo is great. The Kamikaze coatings are good. There's hundreds of them now. There's lots of pro-specific ones. I have some, I'm not supposed to have this, but I'm technically certified, Ultra, which I think Crystal Serum Ultra is the best coating on the market, at least for my preferences. This particular coating combination is not like, this isn't like gonna last for 5 years kind of thing for me. For me, this is an 18-month and replace. If I'm a daily driver, I'm doing this every 12 months. And so the combination is Crystal Serum Light and XO V5. And a car like this, it's going to be garage kept. It's going to go to some owner. Someone's going to buy it. This is not my car. This is my friends at Enthusiast Auto Group own this car, and they let me borrow it and do my thing to it. We're going to coat it, and then it'll be prepped and ready for the next owner. Chances are this combination will last 3 or 4 or 5 years for that person because this car is going to be a every third weekend, go to Cars and Coffee, not on a rainy day type of car. It's going to get more dusty than it is dirty, and so this coating is going to last a really long time. And we're going to apply it, and we're going to play with some different stuff. I've been using this combination for many years, the CarPro block and a CarPro suede applicator, and we put this puppy on the applicator and we call it a day. And then what happens is on the big panels, I'm using the applicator, and then I take it off the applicator and I end up doing it, by hand. And I've tried dozens of applicators, the little square block that comes with things. I freaking hate those ones. And so my friend Ian at Autofiber spent a lot of time on this stuff, on making applicators for coatings. And so I bought a bunch of different types of applicators, old school wax applicators, little mini wax applicators, this little thingy thing, where what he does is he lines these so that the coating doesn't go through it. I'm still going to use gloves, but the goal is to keep the coating on the surface. And so these are lined with maybe like a urethane or a plastic type, thing in between, and I guess they probably glue it or some form or fashion, bond it somehow. And so I can take this thing, I can Velcro it to an applicator, and then use it to apply. And one of the problems I've always had with using a microfiber towel or using one of these is that I'm going to be sopping up so much. I mean, this stuff is freaking expensive. 60, 70 bucks a bottle. And I'm going to waste half of it on my darn applicator. So that's why I've always liked suede, because suede is super thin. This is Ian's suede. So the suede is much thinner, and so I'm not wasting a bunch of product. The sponge in the applicator is pretty minimal, so almost all the product stays on the top and then gets transferred to the car. But the thing I don't like about this is half the time I'm almost dropping it, flopping on the ground, and so it can become problematic. So anyway, we're going to play with these different applicators and see what I like. So I'm going to waste some product and try a bunch of different things. So I got 3 different size blocks. I don't love how this one is because it doesn't give me a lot of overlap. So I don't think I'm really going to use this big one. So these are not like exact cut, which is pretty typical of Chinese microfiber. So I don't love how this is not, you know, completely overlapping the edge. So my tendency is probably going to be to do it this way. I tend to like this size here. And I like how he has it, you know, different colors, so you could kind of, you can remember, you know, which side was used, and these are flippable, right? So I think I'm going to start with this guy and see how it goes. I am interested in these as well, but because of the liner, it kind of lacks pliability, and I think the real advantage of something like this would be to get into cracks and crevices, but I don't love that. So I think I'm probably going to like these the most, this little guy. I don't know. Well, let's just freaking use them and find out. You've got this one here too, which you can put on here like this. Maybe if I have a big truck or something. The other thing we're going to do is some diamond glass. We'll see if we get into that here today. But this is the glass coating that I wanted to test out. So there's glass prep and then diamond glass coating. Somebody was telling me this doesn't do very well with drying aid. It gets smeary, so we'll test it out on this car, see how it goes. All right, so let's put some gloves on and let's get to work. I've already done off camera. I sprayed down with Car Pro Eraser and wiped the car down. So I used Pluffles, you know, the Pluffle towels, and Car Pro Eraser in my Press-All bottle, and I cleaned up the car. Sometimes if it's really nasty, like if I was doing back in the day, like when I was, you know, polishing my F10 M5 and I used M100 on the whole thing. Was it 100 or 101? And 101. It was dust everywhere. I pulled the car out and sprayed it off. On this, we did have quite a bit of residue, but it's so sticky and gross that it wiped off pretty easily. So I was able to just, you know, clean and wipe the car off without having to take it out and wash it. All right, so let's take our CSL here. Just voided, that's cool. It says void when you open it. Comes with some junk gloves. I love these gloves. These are from a company called SAS. I've tried a lot of gloves. These are my favorite. Comes with this, which I'm not going to use. These aren't terrible applicators. What I like to do, actually, is, or what I would suggest you do, keep your old dropper, which I should have here. Yep. I just threw a old bottle of XO away here, so I'm going to take this dropper out, and I'm going to use this. On my CSL bottle, so I don't have to use this stupid pipette thingy. What I would do if I didn't have one laying around, I just take it off the XO bottle that I have and then put it in there. Just like that. So now I don't have to think about it. Get rid of this, get rid of this, and we're good to go. So this is 2 steps. CSL first. I will wait until tomorrow, just because I don't really like coding very much. I don't really like most detailing. I like the result. You know, that's a microcosm of life. You know, you do the work and you get the result. Just watching, you know, JJ Redick's podcast with Dan Hurley, and that was sort of the theme that, you know, UConn won the national championship, and it's like he's addicted to the work. Just do the work, and the results come. Same thing here. Same thing in really anything in life. Let me push this down. There we go. So we'll put some coating on here, like so. Not rocket science. And then this is a wipe on, wipe off. So we're going to put it on, and we're going to wipe it off. I don't know that I've ever coated a single stage car before. I'm going like this. CSL is very forgiving, especially in a humidity-controlled environment like this, where I've got dehumidifiers going, and you can hear the air conditioning running. It's a nice 40% relative humidity to 72 degrees in here. So it makes applying a coating much easier. But CSL is so darn forgiving that it really doesn't matter what the temperature is. It's usually pretty simple. I'm gonna put it on, wipe it off. So the first thing I've noticed with this microfiber, I can do a much bigger spot without having to revisit. I did the whole half of the hood without having to revisit the darn thing, the dropper. So if you're new to coating, don't let anybody tell you this is freaking easier than wax. When you watch the next series, you'll see, I mean, I put it on. Now I like to use 2 towels, so I like to use a low pile towel and a high pile. So the high pile I wipe as my initial wipe, and this stuff comes off like frickin' butter. And then I'll follow with my low pile. This is my second wipe. And we got ourselves magical slickness. Slickness that just makes me frickin' happy. And my love affair with this combination of coatings is it looks like frickin' wax. You can call me an old man, but it looks like wax, it acts like wax. This is not the most durable coating, but it is probably the slickest. If not, it's up there. Or you could use, these would actually be pretty decent coating removal towels as well. The microfiber magnet, or the microfiber rip and rag roll thingy that we have. I think this might be it, folks. I think this is going to be my new coating applicator. I think I'll call Ian and tell him I need it. Make our puddle line. You can do it that way too. And then I can trace the puddle line back and forth like this. Come back. I like to do a simple crosshatch, one up, one down. Good to go. And I'm gonna do this on it, frickin' everything. All the trim, all the plastics, the whole darn car, except for the glass. Now, I have been doing this on the side and rear glass, not the windshield. It doesn't do well on the windshield, doesn't last very long. I have done it on the windshield, it does work, but, and it doesn't shatter terribly with your wiper blades, but there's, much better stuff. For the glass, by the time I get this on, it's flashed. So I don't like sit and wait and look for anything specific. This again is pretty simple, wipe on, wipe off. Now G-Technic has said that if you're gonna do EXO right after, that you would do it, within say an hour. At least that's what, what they've told me. I don't know how much testing has been done there. Or I think you're supposed to wait, like either do it right away or do it like 3+ hours later. I like to wait overnight. Let's let the CSL do its thing. Let's let it bond. And then we can come back and do our EXO tomorrow. I think you'll do a better job when you do that anyway. What was somebody telling me about my towel? So I think he's right. I always frickin' plan to do this and I never do it. So I'm saying when you take your towel, you grab it some way where it doesn't unfold. Maybe it's like this. I don't frickin' know. I just get too impatient and just start going. But there is a way to grab the towel where it doesn't undo itself, if you will. Man, it's so slick. I'm kind of a sucker for single stage, man. This looks deep, dark, rich. You know, this is not a 90%, like the car has all kinds of pitting and stuff, but you know, I know it looks great on camera. It looks really good in person. You know, it's a 100,000 mile car. You know, like right here, you can probably see that scratch. Really, there was a really deep scratch that we just kind of cleaned up that I didn't want to, you know, blow through the paint. But this, like the fenders and stuff just look freaking fabulous. All right. So I mean, that's the darn coating process, right? Doesn't get much simpler than that. Beauty of having a lift. I don't have to bend over. So again, remember I went and cleaned this thing up with, I cleaned it up with eraser beforehand. So now what I'll do here, and I do like this, I do like the Velcro a lot, because what I can do is just pull this off. Whereas anytime I took it off of the other applicator, the little CarPro block, I would very rarely put it back on because it's kind of annoying. You have to use a credit card. So I'm definitely going to hit this, you know, rubber trim, the wiper blade arms. I should probably come back down here. Doing the jam here. Get it nice and clean. Just go up here and do this. So the key with coating is to stay organized. Keep yourself organized. Remember where you've been. You know. And if you do that, it's about the only thing that's difficult. Put on some headphones and go to work. People were real mad at me about cleaning it. One guy was a really good comment. What was our short? It was how to properly clean an engine bay. And one guy's like, start with a clean one. I was like, that was pretty clever. I like that. That's a good move. Step one, start with a clean engine. I like that. That was pretty clever. I mean, you know, I take a lot of heat from you frickin' dirtballs out there that, you know, live life dirty. I live life clean. So I'm always, my starting point, you know, I'm looking for a car like this. I'm not looking for some junkyard dumpster find, you know. I'm looking for great. And I want to take great and make it better. Not just frickin' live life in filth. So it's kind of hard to make fun of that. Isn't that superior? You know, it would, to me, it sure seems like it. Like, man, that guy has a really nice car. Like this car, it's really nice. Why would I want to work on a clapped out E30? I'm not interested in that. I don't give a crap if it gets you more views to show some barn find garbage. I don't want to do that. And then fake it like it's come out perfect. This isn't perfect. And this is a $100,000 E30. Like, look, we did this disaster detail, polished it up. It's beautiful. No, you're just keeping the camera 5 feet away, keeping it a little out of focus. I don't want to do that. I'm not gonna do that. I'll find a different job if that was the job. I'll go do something else. So yes, I'm starting with a clean engine bay and making it a little bit more dialed. I'm gonna start with paint that isn't frickin' garbage. Yeah, see, a lot of times I would prefer, so since I did that, let's do the rest of the jams and I'll flip this thing over. So normally I would do these jams after the fact because we're got a little funk from the old rubber and a little bit of extra gunk from the, I did clean this out, but Probably still a little bit of residue left over. Yeah, I think this is the way to go. This kind of applicator. It's got a little more heft than the suede, so it's a little easier to hold on to. It's holding a little bit more product, but not so much that you're wasting. Seems to make sense to me. So I'm staying organized here in that I'm doing both A-pillars, doing the whole cowl. Even though I jumped to the other side of the car, I'm just mirroring what I did on the other side, and it'll be easy for me to remember where I've been and where I'm headed. Plus with CSL, if I took my gloves off, you'd know what was done and what wasn't. It's so frickin' slick. So, again, if this was my car, I would have done pretty much the exact same thing. I would have just taken I don't have this thing forever. So, like the jams, I might have taken like the fenders, and I don't know if I would have taken the fenders off because you wouldn't want to do that, but I would have pulled off all this trim and maybe gone a little bit deeper. But I said I did like 95% of what I would have done if I was gonna, if this was my car and I was gonna have it forever. I would have polished more aggressively than I did. So, some of the deeper defects I probably would have chased a little bit harder. But on the trunk lid was a good example. Went through the paint. That's part of the risk of dealing with a car. You don't know where it's been. You don't know how many times it's been polished. I talked about the perils, the pros and cons of, I guess there's no con to doing a paint depth gauge, but it's not an exact thing where it's perfect, or you can just rely on it telling you exactly how much paint is on the car. It's just giving you a reference point, more of a comparative reference point that is, I find, semi-useful at best. But we've certainly improved this car a pretty significant amount. I think I can close this now. See, to me, the blocks are really only useful on the bulk, the big areas. And then I end up just taking it off and doing it like this. I'm sure this camera or this color looks pretty wild in person. I'm sure it looks frickin' bananas on camera. It's pretty frickin' cool. This might be my favorite red of all time. Hennerot, isn't that what it was? Zinnoberot. Oh, another thing, the side skirts. So I put a post up in the I put a reel up and asked for some help. The side skirts are they're not single stage because there wasn't any red coming off when I was polishing it. And so the only thing I could do, there's still some haze, you guys won't be able to see it, and hopefully the coating will help with that. But I couldn't get the haze to come out, and if I was using a 3-inch polisher, I could see the polisher, like I could see the circles. And so, and then everybody gives me advice and they don't know what they're frickin' talking about, but that's what comes with the territory. And then some detailers use that as, well, he doesn't know anything, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, this is like a specific E30 thing, not a paint correction thing. So you had to have done an E30 or owned an E30 because it's a little bit different, or this period BMW. And so a couple of guys made me aware, you know, that's just the finish. The finish of the side skirts has like a kind of hazy look to it, has a lot more orange peel, and they're not painted the same as the surface of the paint. And so what I ended up doing was, the suggestion was, you know, yellow wool. So I did yellow wool and I did a 5-inch pad, and what I had to do was just go all the way down, all the way back, all the way down, all the way back. So I had like uniform haze, and I didn't have like a, you know, like you could see where I stopped the 3-inch halfway and then started, you know, in the next section. So when I treated it in sections, I ended up with ununiform haze. So that's the best we can come up with those side skirts. And I think a lot of people, you know, suggested what you would do is just PPF it, cover it up. So the procedure for XO V5 will be identical. XO used to be a lot more smeary. V4 took a lot more work to get off. V5 is a single layer, where V4 was, you know, you would do generally 2 layers. And what it does for me, it makes it look even more wax-like. But I'm gonna go through the whole car like this, wipe on, wipe off, do it in sections at a time, staying organized. And then tomorrow, I'll come in on the weekend. Tomorrow I'll come in and I'll do the, you know, the rest of it. And what I'll probably do this weekend also, I'll probably work on the wheels, and I'll save one for you guys next week when we have all the cameras back, and I'll do that, do a wheel on camera and show you what I'm gonna do there. I don't think there's anything new. Oh, there is one thing new. This guy. Yeah. I'll open this up in a second. The new Nick and did Tommy have anything to do with this, or just Nick? Do I give Tommy any credit, or is it all just Nick? So Nick's design. He worked with the guys at Detail Factory. I'm sure Bryce had a lot to do with it as well. But our guys went and replaced the race glaze brush with a Detail Factory brush for tire dressing application when you're not doing, you know, the big curveball thingy. So I like having a brush like that for, let's call it precision tire dressing, if there is such a thing. I'll show you that. Let me just wipe this section off and I'll open it up for you. Again, these cars look pretty good coming in. Now it looks really good. I'm telling you, if you're looking for an E30 and you're like medium discerning, you're a driver, you don't want to drive the car, but you want a nice car, this one is a pretty good pick, I think. Like, I don't think I would want to own one, like, you know, at this stage, at this level of, you know, where it's at. You know, I would want it to be lower miles, and I would want, you know, a little less patina, but it's pretty darn good. And you could drive this sort of guilt-free. And now, you know, with Uncle Matty dialing it in for you, you're gonna be good for years. We'll see how long I have these cars, and if I get into doing spacers and brakes and stuff, well, I got a lot of work to do to get them. I suspect someone's gonna end up buying it before I can get that deep into it. Maybe the next owner, yeah, that's another thing I'll offer up, I'll do it for free. If you let me put the parts on it, I'll do whatever you want. We can do it together. You want some Brembos, intake, exhaust, those kind of things. Mike and I will do it, as long as I get to video it. All right. Let's do the grill together, and then it gets kind of redundant. You know, you keep doing the same thing. Oh yeah, let me open this up for you. How about that? Look at that. Bryce is so good at this. Making it look pretty. And this guy has little OG hexes on there. See that? Very sick. And so then when we get, you know, a little tire dressing on here, it'll gather, you know, and then I use that to apply. And this is a grippy rubberized finish. Pretty freaking cool. These are in stock, aren't they? I think we have them ready to rock. Keep it in my fancy box. Don't save the box, nerds. When you just throw the frickin' box away. I know it's pretty. Don't save it. That's a slippery slope. You know, I think what might work for the grill is this guy. Let's do this and that. Do the headlights. It's cool, a little projector. It's a big deal in 89. Okay. Wipe that off. Make sure you're checking adjacent panels. Oh, you know what I want to get? This right here. I will tell you, I haven't spent a lot of time in the interior of this car, but I've spent a lot of time in the exterior. I bet you this car cost twice as much as what they sold it for back in the day. Just the quality of this, you know, versus even say my E36, it's at a different level. Like the way the doors close, the way that, you know, the things put together, just the overall build quality of this thing is pretty frickin' tremendous. Yeah, just everything about it, yeah. Like from the fenders to even the plastics, like this grill here, just well done. So I'm going to do this exact same procedure with the XO tomorrow. I'm going to go around the whole car, do everything, and make it look great. So what I think I'll do for you now, let's jump to the glass and let's figure out this Diamond Protect business. This rag company product, we'll figure this out together. And then I'll do the coating off camera. And then we'll show you what it looks like next week when it looks all shiny and pretty. All right, so what does this stuff say to do? Let's actually read directions for once in our lives. May irritate skin, I don't care about that. It uses nano diamond cleaning power to remove dirt. This is the cleaner. Oily residue from glass surfaces. This is a necessary preparation step prior to application of diamond glass coating. Don't work in direct sunlight. It says spray on, wipe off. Is that the directions? Got a little sprayer, a little bottle. See video features for features and instructions. Shall we do that? Is it going to be Anthony? Let's see. Where's my phone? Spray onto the glass surface using a short-haired microfiber towel. Proceed to clean and polish the glass. Dry the surface with the dry side of the towel. Okay. That's easy enough. That's what I was going to do anyway, but sometimes reading instructions is not the world's worst idea. I just don't like to do it. A couple of waffle weaves. Glass cleaner? That's because that's what it is. Smells like Angel Wax Vision. There's a little ammonia in there. It's just Windex. Nano Diamond Special Windex. Anthony's gonna be so mad at me. Rag Company are the U.S. distributors for this stuff. That's where I bought it from. Okay, that was easy enough. And we take our box here. Instructions, that's what I prep with the Windex, just did. Shake well for 15 seconds. Apply 15 drops to an applicator. Apply to an entire surface and crosshatch. Wait 10 to 15 minutes and polish off excess with a microfiber towel. So we want to wait 10 to 15, so we want to let it sit. Recommend yield 3 to 5 windshields per bottle. 15 seconds. 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't follow directions. I do my own thing. That's plenty. Doesn't smell like anything. Let's use one of these little bros. It's like too small, too big for 2 fingers, too small for 3. Can't really tell. Is it coming out? So I've been using Wolf's nano sealant for many years. Wolf's has a hard time with like Michelle, you know, who's she's murders drawers and windshields, like most people, where they just turn the wipers on and forget it. But for me, Wolf's does really well. You just have to put it on. You know, if you're using your wipers a lot, you got to put it on more often. So we're just looking to, every so often I go back to the drawing board and test a bunch of crap and see if I find something I like better. So I have 4 or 5 different glass coatings I want to test out. This car is something I have to work with, so might as well test this one out. I wonder if this is layerable. Like, would you be better off putting a couple coats on? It doesn't really like this dropper very much. It looks like I'm putting a lot on, but it's just not coming out very well. All right, so we'll let that sit for 10 to 15, and we'll see how it wipes off. All right, let's see how this stuff comes off. It's been about 20 minutes or so. It doesn't even look like it's there. That's why I wonder, I might go check Anthony's video and see if they talk about a second coat. Almost seems like the glass just sopped it up. Yeah, let's Let's see if we should put a second coat on this. I mean, I doubt I would need it for what this car's going to get used for.
We also are going to be doing 2 coats of diamond glass on this windshield.
2 coats.
Which isn't recommended.
Oh.
But it's not recommended, right? So I find that 2 coats give you the most amount of cover.
That's what I wanted to know. Thanks, Levi. 2 coats. 2 coats. Let's see if we can swing this quicker like they did. Use one of these guys. Mine doesn't frickin' come out though like that. Oh, there we go. I feel like I still need a lot more. It is pretty cool how it just kind of disappears. I feel like I have this whole bottle, so I'm going to do all the glass later. So, application is pretty awesome. We'll see how it works. So I used like, not very much. So that's a wrap. I'll update you as time goes on here. Let you know how that stuff does. Application's a piece of cake. Coating, it's a piece of cake. I'm gonna get CSL on this puppy, get the whole thing done. And then next up will be wheels, interior, wheels back on, drive it, give it back. That's the best part. Maybe modify, maybe dry ice clean it, not sure yet. We'll see what we get into. Thanks for watching. Go to obsessivegarage.com to get all this stuff. Always appreciate your support. As always, stay tuned for more crazy. See you soon. Man, it's like gone. Yeah.